I've been looking at an episode of The Three Stooges in which Larry and Moe tried to teach Curly the rudimentary basics of Pig Latin.
Now I'll explain it so even you can understand it. Now follow me. Larry, Arile. Moe, Ome. Curly, Curlicue. Hold him! Hold him! Hold him! Hold him! Hold him! Hold him!
For somebody like Curly, who's not necessarily the brightest guy in the world, to explain it to him, I don't think they did a great job explaining it to him. I don't think the Three Stooges are models of much good in the world, but they probably aren't great teachers. I've talked a lot on my channel about dabbling with foreign languages, and one language that I've tried that I've struggled with before is Korean, and I was tempted to say that Korean is a difficult language for English speakers, that is a hard and set fact, that it's just trying to learn it as an English speaker is going to be difficult no matter what. However, I have recently, after trying different apps, found one that I like that is going well. It's that if you're curious, if you want to study Korean, it's on Memrise. They have a lot of different courses, but it's kind of a flashcard system, but it has a lot of videos and other things that they include. And I think it's a really well put together course. So I'm going along with it very slowly and finding that I'm enjoying Korean like I have not done before. It could also be that as I've struggled with Korean before, I've been slowly building up these structures in my brain that would allow, finally when I try a new course, because I'm again starting from the beginning, that it allows it to be a little easier. That's possible. There's a quote about learning that you have to understand something like the level of complexity right below what you're trying to understand before you understand that. So you can't skip the levels. I bring this up now though because for the last year and whatever, we've had different schooling systems and problems and structures going on because of the coronavirus. And I can't even imagine what it's like to be a school student, a regularly schooled student, to see that process unfold, because I imagine it's overall not very pleasant right now. But I am a student of sorts. I'm always studying something, and most of the time it's informally through, internet resources. And the thing about internet resources is that most of the time, if you are studying and making progress, but then you hit a problem and you hit what I call the wall, what do you do? Who do you ask? You can try asking. There are systems to ask questions online, but if you don't want to do that, or if it's unreliable, it just doesn't have the flexibility of a real life teacher that can answer your questions in real time, directly aware of your level of knowledge. So what do you do? When I say blame the teachers, as this clickbaity title is, I'm not saying actually blame the teachers. I salute the teachers and thank them for their hard work. But what I mean is that there's so much material out there right now that if you are struggling with something and you're trying to learn something, as I was with Korean, or still am, but I hit the wall before with Korean. It felt like so much work and just frustrating and annoying. The idea is that change to a different course or different material, because there's tons of stuff out there for almost everything that you're trying to learn. There are a lot of things like apps that do function in a responsive sort of way that try to match your level of expertise, but really they don't always succeed. And the point is though, like you may be using an app and it may be time to switch to a book, or you may be using a book and maybe that's not working for you, so switch to videos, whatever. This is key though with languages, but really with anything, and that is don't rely on one resource, because even teachers in schools, when you're in schools, middle school, you start to get usually not just one teacher but many different teachers, and I think that has its strength in that each teacher can, even though they're teaching different subjects, they're going to be teaching different styles, and they're going to kind of test you in different ways. For linguistic resources, I've been trying to read in different languages each night, just a little bit, and I'm kind of focusing on 5 languages right now that I'm 3 of them I can read pretty well: Spanish, French, and Italian. I could say I understand the gist of it. Maybe with Spanish I get like 90% of the words. The other 2 though, Latin and Indonesian, I probably understand 10% or less, but I do find words that I know and I do get the gist of ideas. When your comprehension is that low though, a lot of times it's better just to get a small dose each day, slowly start to build up and not torture yourself. But make no mistake, your brain is learning. And that is the point, that it's so tempting to say, I'm not smart enough to learn this. But I think we forget with any complicated endeavor, whether it's, computer programming or learning medicine or whatever, that these things have been building up throughout human history, and trying to or expecting to learn them quickly, which is what so much of the marketing and the model of how we think learning is, that you gotta get it quick and learn it fast, otherwise you're just stupid. And I think that's ridiculous, because think about with language that you grew up speaking, probably English, right? You started studying English from, as soon as you were born, and you started hearing English, and then when you were about 4 or 5 or whatever, you started really formally studying English in school, and you would every day work on your English in a formal context of reading and writing and comprehension skills, whatever, analysis, and you would do that all the way up to when you finished high school, hopefully. And sometimes you, like me, I went on to study English that was my major for 4 more years. And you could have gone even further than that and studied to get a master's or a PhD. And even if you're informally studying it after high school, like you're reading and writing, you're still learning language. You're picking up ideas and you're learning to see the bigger structure of how ideas form and are advanced dialectically and so on. So there's not like this point when you've mastered something. You probably heard the Malcolm Gladwell popularized idea of the 10,000 hour rule for mastery. And whether it's true or not, I think that's kind of a very generic idea that is a little too vague. Like 10,000 hours of what? I think you need to, like I said, constantly be expanding into new ideas and new territory. If you're just doing the same material over and over, you're not going to be growing. And so proper practice of what you're reviewing is essential. But I think even if that is a little vague, there is this idea of you need a lot of practice and variety to really learn something. It's like when I see these courses that claim to teach piano or guitar in 6 weeks, as if you can really master something that quickly. That's like if you, when you were 4 years old, and say, guess what? We're going to master the English language in 6 weeks. And by that time you're finished, you're going to be able to read Shakespeare and Ezra Pound and whatever else. And you're going to be able to write novels and whatever. Everything you can do with language, you'll have mastered it in 6 weeks. So why would we expect other fields like piano or archaeology or computer programming or whatever to not be as rich and varied and require a lifetime of study to really not master, but be able to discourse with it and deal with it in a way that you're in the top 99% of the people doing that thing. I would even suggest that this idea of mastery is sort of a hurdle when you are learning, just to get rid of it and instead look at the model as a dance floor in which you're not going to ever be completely able to dance everything, because it's, like I said, evolving and new things are coming up all the time. But there are going to be, a general style that wherever you enter on the dance floor that you can learn and deal with, and you'll have a level of competence, and then other things may come along. You may go to other parts of the dance floor, or other dance floors entirely, in which you can learn new styles and so on and progress, but you'll be better at it and more competent. So instead of mastery, maybe we should be thinking about being able to adapt quickly. I just read this great book called Grasp. If you're interested in education and learning at all, I really recommend it. But he really talks about something I've heard a lot about that I never really got explained, and that's this idea of space timing and regular practice. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest ideas in learning, is that establishing a regular practice is essential, and preferably daily practice, but if not, at least regular practice. That idea of space, timing, regular practice, along with making sure it's fun and using a variety of resources and being able to adapt are the key ideas that I've learned about learning. If it feels stagnant and boring or difficult, then you're probably approaching it in the wrong way, or you're trying to get a concept that you need more time and slower, like a slower gradual increase in complexity before you arrive at. But make it fun and find the right resources that will help you. You can even get, like, there are so many tutors online now that you can, whatever subject you're learning, just get some feedback. Even a little feedback can help a lot. Anyway, I think my next video, I'm going to talk about my attempts to learn Mandarin Chinese with apps and other resources, and I will tell you how it's going. Spoiler alert, it's going well. I found an app that I enjoy, and but actually I found 3 others that are pretty good too. When children learn language, there is no difficult language. They're all capable of learning that language that they grow up hearing and speaking. It takes a long time, but eventually they will have that skill. And I think that idea, though, is just throw it out the door that there are difficult subjects. Don't expect to learn it all in one day, but whatever you're trying to learn, the key thing is showing up and doing it every day, and even a small amount will eventually build those structures in your mind.